Welcome to Launch Ready, and in this video, I'm going to discuss what is an MVP and how to use GitHub as a project management tool. On the screen, I have Amazon.com open. And what is Amazon.com? It's a website that sells thousands of different products, offers video streaming services, and is a leader in cloud hosting services. But this is Amazon today. What was Amazon as a MVP? It was an online bookstore. No movies, no cloud services, no Amazon Prime. They didn't sell any other products. So this leads to MVP. MVP stands for Minimum Viable Product, which means a website with just enough features to satisfy early customers and gain feedback from those customers for future product development, a starting point. So the first thing that needs to be stated about your first project is built enough to be viable. If you shoot for Amazon, you will not have enough project time. So how does one determine an MVP? Well, you have to think of your audience. What is your audience? Your customers. And what's the problem the product will address? And how does that product solve the problem? And when I use the word product, what I really mean is the services your website offers. Once you determine your MVP, the next step is to start with the user story. Hypothetically, my MVP is going to be a book review site. What would be the user story for this? Well, here's one example. As a potential reader, I want to read book reviews so I can decide what book to read next. To meet your project requirements, you most likely will need more than one user story, and user stories will become the foundation for you to build out your MVP. Along with that, make sure to add some constraints and viable goals for your MVP based off your user stories. Now, real world developing isn't a solo job. You work with a team of fellow developers and others with the goal of creating the product. As part of this, many companies use user stories and agile methodologies as a foundation for their projects. I'm going to head on over to GitHub and show you the starting point of using GitHub as a project management tool. Now, I'm over here at GitHub and I have a new repo I just created. And what I'm going to do is click on the Projects tab and select Create New Project. I'm going to give the project a name, and down below, above the green Create Project button, I'm going to select a template, Basic Kanban. And now this project board has been generated. Now the Kanban board is mainly made of columns and cards. The columns represent different development stages. The card represents different individual work items. They could be features, they could be bug fixes, but it's a specific task that is assigned to that card. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add a column to this Kanban board, but do not do so until you reload this page first. There are a couple hidden columns here that will show up after the reload, which I will mention later on in the video. So I'm going to go ahead and add a review column. And Kanban boards work with drag and drop functionality. I'm going to drag this Welcome to GitHub Projects card into the review column. And the idea behind this is as you work through each task, you will drag each card into the appropriate development workstage. Now, your team is going to want to add cards for each specific task for your project. If I click on Add Cards, there are no cards to add. That is because cards created are either based off pull requests or issues made. Before I go any further, I'm going to reload the project page. And here's why. We use a Kanban template, and there are two more columns that don't initially show up when you first create the project page. There's a in progress column and a done column. Now I'm going to go ahead and drag the review column and put it in between the in progress and done column. And let's talk a little bit more about workflow. So hypothetically, both the cards in the to-do column have an assign as tasks. So they would both be considered to be in progress. So I'm going to drag both cards over. Now this card in the review column, well, that's completed. So I'm going to drag it over to done. So I'm following a normal development stage workflow here. We have our initial task, our to-dos, our in progress, what are actively being worked on, our items that need to be reviewed, and after that, those items that don't need any further changes are done. In this Kanban board, as it fills out, allows everybody on the team to see what stage each task is in and what has been completed, what is in progress, and what is in need of review. Now, the work that needs to be done is ever evolving. So I need to create additional tasks to add to my project board. And I want to do this through GitHub Issues. So I want to go ahead and click on the Issues tab. And then I'm going to click on Create a New Issue. Next, I'm going to give my issue a title, Create First User Story. Now, on the right side, I'm going to assign this issue to the team member that's going to work on this task, which in this case, I'm assigning to myself. And right below that is projects. And I'm going to click on that and assign this to my awesome project. Now I will click on Submit New Issue, and I will go back to the project board to add this issue as a card. This is going to be a little hard to see, but where it states to add cards, there's like a notification here. So I'm going to now click on Add Cards, and there's my issue as a card. And I'm going to drag that over to the to-do column. And this is how you're going to build out your task and manage your project through the use of GitHub Projects and the Kanban board. So let's do a quick recap. I talked about MVPs and the user story to set up the MVP. And I talked about how to set up project management in GitHub. Thanks for watching and happy coding.